Hey guys, Konosuba Gaming here. In today's video, or more like video series, I want to talk about all the units and differences that come to us in Konosuba Fantastic Days global version in 2023. By the way, if you guys like this video, please like and smash the subscribe button. Big numbers make brain happy, and the more happy I am, the more and better content and guides I can produce for you all. So if you don't want to miss out on them, and especially don't miss out on the other parts of this video, like and subscribe so you don't miss that. Ring the notification bell so you're the first one to watch it and you're always up to date to anything Konosuba related. So first up, I want to address one big elephant in the room. Currently, all banners and events are lasting roughly 10 days in global, which is a little bit longer than they are in JP, unless it's like a specific event like Halloween, New Year, stuff like that. These kind of events tend to be longer than the 7 days, but probably the same thing happens to global as well. So this could mean that the gap between global and JP will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. For example, right now, JP is 5 collabs ahead of global. Overlord, Shield Hero, Railgun, Bofuri, and Mushoku Tensei. I mean, we all know Overlord is coming soon, so it would be only then 4, but like, it's still getting bigger and bigger, and with everything that's happens in global, some of this stuff and like timings can change. But I still want to talk about it to give you all a little bit of a heads up. So yeah, because there's a lot to talk about, this video will be split in multiple parts. I'm not sure if it's like 3, 4, or 5 or something like that, but the rough topics I want to talk about are first big banners, aka Fes and Anni Banners. After that, collab banners and all the other banners that are interesting, with also like always rough timings on when they might drop. And last but not least, I really want to talk about system changes that are coming, like the stuff that I already talked about, like Quest, the new earrings, new levels for god and personal weapons, more like a little bit talk about shards, what could that mean, stuff like that. Maybe also recap the future system changes we already got and stuff like that. So there's a lot to talk about, a lot of stuff that is coming this year to the game, so let's get right into it. First, let's talk about Anni and Fes banners. If you didn't know it, I already did a video with like all the banners that are up to, I think it's May or something like that this year, that are already leaked and with specific timings and stuff, where I talked about these units as well. So I probably skip those a little bit and focus more on the stuff that I haven't talked about. So remember, check that video out as well. But for Fes and Anni, I just probably go over everything. The big one everyone knows about already is Fes Chris. She's Fes 1.75. She's probably like the best support we have in the game right now. Thanks to her kit and her ultis. First up, she has a tier 2 speed boost for the whole team. The last 10 seconds with a 16-second cooldown. So in theory, with only 6 seconds of cooldown reduction, you can keep the speed up all the time. And look at that, she actually has a self cooldown reduction skill for 4 seconds, so it's only at max a 2-second downtime that you can most of the time just overlap with Jamoska at least once or twice, so it shouldn't be that hard to keep the speed up all the time. Especially if you have some kind of auto gotcha in the team, then it's guaranteed to, not gotcha, CDR in the team, then it's guaranteed to always be up. Also remember, we have her ulti 2 now that just got buffed, so now she can buff both physical and magical attacks, so she will just be like the best support in general. And even if you don't need the buff because you have an auto buffer in the team, you could just use your ulti 1 to slow the enemies, which is also pretty valuable. Yeah, if you didn't know it already, pull for her, save for her, trust me, she's worth it. She's really, really, really good. The next one is pretty interesting because next Fes banner, that is by the way actually not leaked yet, is the 2nd anniversary banner. On the Gate Fes 2.0, however you want to call it. Here's a little bit trickier, interesting. In my video where I talked about the upcoming banners, we have every banner in JP order up until the 2nd Anni, so it stops right before the 2nd Anni. which would mean that we get second Anni in like May or June. which seems fine because it would be 3 months after Fes Chris banner, which is the Japanese shadow for Fes banners every 3 months. But the global version only started in August. So the question here will be, will they delay the banner actually until the second Anni? Or will they just do the same what they did with 1.5 Anni, which is drop the banner early and then just delay the rewards until the actual second Anni? Like right now we have a login campaign that gives us 1.5 Anni stuff, but the 1.5 Anni banner was with Megumin and Wiz, so Fes Megumin and Wiz, dropped just earlier. So my guess is that just that will happen. We will get the banner early, not on the right Fes, right Anni, but they will just give us bonus rewards or the other rewards or just these rewards that we normally get on the second Anni, on the real second Anni, and just drop the banner early. Let's talk about the units. The new units will be light units. First up, one of the best artists in the game, Fes Yunyun. She's probably the best unit in this banner. First up, she applies herself Reshred tier 2, which is really valuable with HP condition, so also pretty good damage. AoE skill with debuff condition that she can also herself apply with, you know, Reshred. And also, I think it's medium CDR, not 100% sure, but like CDR and Reshred is really good, especially for a character like Yunyun. With her ulti 1 version 2, she can now buff physical and magical attacks, so she's kind of same with Chris, really good team support buffer while also stealing pretty insane damage on element. She will also be the first and so far only unit that actually gives magic attack and gauge up, so the same traits that like Fes Aqua gives but for mages. The second one is Fes Iris. A lot of people wait for her, I know that. Also pretty cool art, not gonna lie, I love it. Skill-wise, she's a pretty selfish unit. So, first up, she has a really interesting skill, 1 or 2, I don't know which order it is. But the icon may be a little bit confusing, but this skill will apply an elemental buff tier 3 for light and normal on Iris itself. So this is a self buff, but it's a tier 3 elemental buff, and so far the only tier 3 elemental buff we have. Also really interesting to point out, as I just said, it's for light and normal. So with that skill you can both buff both of her ultis. So if you run her ulti 1 version 2 example for the healing, there's the light buff on it, it will be increase the damage. If you run her ulti 2 or ulti 2 version 2, if it's then there, which should normally happen, you can also use this buff to buff her normal damage. So even though there's just one icon there, it buffs both, and that makes it really, really strong on her because tier 3 elemental damage buff on both ultis is really amazing. And also, of course, on all of her kits, other kit, like her gotcha, her basic, everything will be boosted by that. So you already see that she's kind of like high self damage that just continues with her other skill, which an HP condition skill that gives her significant gotcha. I think it's like 50% or something like that. So with just both of these skills, maybe get hit once or something like that, and you know, some gotcha, earrings, weapons, something like that, you can pretty much just ulti after both skills, which is insane. Which also makes her actually pretty good off element in like a slot 4 position to, you know, just come in with like 10 seconds left, get the elemental buff off, get the gotcha buff off, do her ulti 2 ulti for one big last nuke, and you're done. We did it actually in JP1, so that's why I bring it up. That's really cool. About their lasting power, Union is still meta and light thanks to a Reshred appliance. Iris sadly currently got replaced with the new Halloween units we have, so Forbidden Aqua and Halloween Aura. I think these are probably the 3 strongest light units we have currently, so Union, Aqua, and Aura. Maybe if it's like a mage card, maybe we can see Iris again, but probably just a slot 4 or something like that. But I think she's still pretty good and will still last like a year or something like that, or close to a year. More like half a year, sorry, more like half a year. Next one, the other second Anni units. Here I actually have no clue when they drop. Because again, as I said, maybe they drop the event with the banner or not. We will see, but I just want to talk about them anyway. First, we have our Welfare, another Fire Kazuma. And no, he sadly don't buff team fire damage. He has Gotcha up, MIE skill, and HP condition, defense down skill. He's probably just the worst battler Kazuma, but like, if you need a fire unit, you can use him. As I said, he's a Welfare, he's free to use, so not too bad. The other second Anni units, or like beam units, you can actually pull. First up, we have definitely not Aqua. I mean, as you can clearly see, there is no Aqua here in this picture. No Aqua. Nope. Kit-wise, she has Gotcha with HP condition and CDR. Sounds familiar, right? Yep, she basically just has the Fes Aqua kit, but with a normal basic that doesn't heal, which actually just makes her a worse Fes Aqua. I mean, the kit in theory is still good and you can still use her, but Earth is kind of weird because we just have so many auto-strong units and especially not enough space to actually run her. Like, you always run Ensemblista pretty much for the Reshred. You then have someone like Vanir as the main DPS or Accelerator when Raygun Collab drops. And then you just need like a healer or something like that, or a speed boost provider and stuff like that. And then your team is full. You don't have the space for that. There are a few arenas where you can actually run her to decent success, but she's not like that crazy good, sadly. The one big thing here is she boosts water damage by 6%, so she will actually be the best sub for Fes Aqua. So that gives us some benefit, I guess. But yeah, like, she's sadly not that a must pull or something like that. Next one is totally not Darkness. We just see a Vanir here, nothing else to see, right? She has a tier 2 speed boost for the team and a gotcha skill. Same problem with Aqua, she will get used like once or twice for the speed boost provider, but we will soonly get other speed boost providers, for example like a Raygun Union or Onsen Cielo that we can actually rush once, accelerated drops and stuff like that. So there's sadly no space for her, but the 1 or 2 arenas where you can use her, it's actually pretty fun to use, not gonna lie. The last one in the bunch is of course Megumin. This is probably the biggest one out of these, Eye Patch Megu. You probably heard the name before. You can see it's just Megumin with 2 eyes patches. I mean, there's no Megumin here, sorry, definitely not Megumin. Right. The big thing about her is her kit. First up, she has a skill that blocks debuffs, which is really good for bosses with some kind of debuffs turn 1, which just means you have Megumin there, you look that she has ult ready after you finish the second wave. Then wait for the boss to actually cast his debuff, it will be just blocked from everyone. And then you can just explode with Megu and can run your normal team pretty much without any downsides because you just block the debuff. Also, she has a team cooldown reduction. So I think it's just a small one, so 4 seconds. But even then, having 4-second cooldown reduction on a Megumin, which allows your other units to just clear the way faster because CDR brings their cooldowns back up in time, hopefully, just makes her really, really valuable. Like, we actually run her off element a few times. Not so much anymore because bosses don't cast significant debuffs anymore, not gonna lie. But like, when there's a debuff, she's actually pretty good. Like, the best debuff blocker we have in the game right now. Okay, that's everything about second Anni. Let's go to Fes 2.25 and start up with Cecily. Cecily is the new replacement for Fes Aqua. Straight out. If we go by our kit, first up, medium CDR, so 6 seconds, which is really, really good. No gotcha, but she applies a tier 1 water buff to everyone on the team. By the way, I also talk about all these kind of new buffs in a later part of the video, so keep tuning in for that, I guess. But yeah, she just increased the other damage, other team's damage really good. Also, her ultis are really good, especially after the buff. So her ulti 1 version 2 now applies both a magic attack buff and a physical attack buff. So even in hyper teams, she buffs everyone. And even if you don't need these kind of buff because you have some other kind of buffle, like for example Ninja Chris or something like that, you can just run an ulti 2 version 2, which is a tier 2 speed boost for the whole team for 10 seconds. Which is really, really good because she can apply speed, she can buff, she can cooldown reduct, and she can buff your whole team damage with a water damage buff. So he's probably the best water support we have, and with that, just better than Fes Aqua. So she will bring down Fes Aqua as an Iris priest herself. It's kind of funny, but she's 100% a must pull. Same with the other unit in the banner, which is Fes Aure, which is Halloween Aure. There is Fes Aure. She applies Rash Red, so she's probably one of the best dark units we have, just from that fact alone. Rash Red applying so good. She also has a self dark damage boost, so she just increases her own damage by a lot, which is really good. You know, also her ulti 1 version 2 now also lowers both physical and magical resistance, so she also allows your other team members to just do more damage. If that's not needed, you can just run her ulti 1 version 1 for more damage, I guess. So yeah, really strong selfish unit with a little bit of support, and with that just a lot of damage. Also pretty much a must pull. Now we come to the next one, and here I'm not 100% sure if that actually drops this year with how the current timeline goes. I just want to talk about it anyway, so I have it recorded. If it doesn't drop 2023, it should be at the beginning of 2024, so, you know, take it as a heads up. If it drops this year, then good. That probably means Nexon did something with their schedule or with the durations of the event. If not, you know what to be hyped about the beginning of next year. 2.5 Anni / Fes is really, really interesting because it's actually kind of a big Anni, so there are new Anni units and also 3 Fes units. First up, we started with the Repo Trio. So Repo Trio means we got, let's scroll down a little bit to the 3 stars. We got a Welfare Repo Megumin. She also has a debuff block, by the way, so if you don't get the other Megu, you would have a budget eye patch Megu here for the debuff block. But then again, she comes to a time where it's like only one arena so far where we could have used her, so it's still good to have her, I guess. Then the next Repo unit, the first pullable one, is Repo Aqua. She kind of suffers from the auto Fes units that come with this team badge. She applies a tier 1 fire damage boost to the whole team, but she needs like her own gauge to actually use that skill. That's the small bar above the fire icon. But she also has like HP condition skill with gauge up, and yeah, the problem is she has nothing that the other team needs. Like her ulti ones don't do any buffs, just speed boost for herself, but she has a normal basic, so it doesn't do that much bonus damage. Her ulti 2 is just a tier 3 defense down at the moment, and it's not worth running her ulti for that and for the healing alone. So she would need more damage to actually be used, or need the boss to do a lot of damage, which hasn't happened yet, so she sadly had no time to shine. The other Repo unit though, Darkness, is way more useful. She has a gauge up and CDR skill, so she can buff her own gauge, so she can hopefully ult sooner. She applies CDR, which is also always really valuable, so she's actually a pretty good slot 4 unit to like come in, use her gauge up, maybe get one more ulti off at the end, hopefully crit with that as well, and GG, or get one last CDR off so the other units can use one more rotation or one more skill. She's probably the best out of these. And with these 2 Repo units, we also get our first Fes unit, which is Fes Leah. And Fes Leah is our so far probably best water DPS we have. Her kit on paper seems to be pretty weird. We have a random hit that deals 175% damage 2 times to a random enemy. So if there's only one, it will hit the same enemy. If there are multiple enemies, it can hit every enemy. Only the first hit, I think, is guaranteed to be on the unit you actually target. Then we have an AoE skill with like only 130% damage and a fire resistance buff, which is weird on paper because we actually have a lot of healing on this team. But then there was one arena where the boss actually did a lot of damage and you needed her to survive, which was kind of weird. But it was a one-time thing. Also, her basic gives gotcha, but only 5% or so. So, not really worth it. But this kit really syncs well with her ulti 2 and the other units. Because, you know, Cecily has CDR. With her ulti 2, you have CDR. So, you can pretty much just like skill with all the gotcha from the other members, stuff like that. You maybe need one more basic if even, and then you can just ult and repeat, which is really good. So she's a pretty good loop unit. This is the second of the new 3 water trio units that we got. The other one is a limited unit, but not a Fes Anni unit, so we talk about it in another part. And then we have part 2, which is Fes Cielo and Erika. Fes Yellow is a little bit weird because Yellow is normally more of a support character, but this one is pretty selfish. Cielo, she has a wind damage boost, but only to herself, so only she benefits from that and does more damage. The other team support she has is kind of her gotcha, which is still good, don't get me wrong. The damage numbers are also pretty good, but it's not like too crazy. More healing on a basic is nice, I guess, but probably not needed that much because you're probably running ulti 2, not gonna lie, and it also heals. It gives damage reduction, so you don't take much damage. So you normally don't need it. It's still pretty good with like Fes 2.75 units, aka Fes does, because you probably run her ulti 2 version 2 then, which lowers the enemy's physical resistance and doesn't apply a damage reduction to yourself, so they are more likely to take more damage. So, you know, if you need to do a basic, the healing there actually matters and is pretty useful. So it's not the worst, but not the best either. But she's still really strong. But as I said before, other units can actually compete with her. It's kind of wild. But like in a team, she's probably the best win support we have right now, together with Chris, of course. And she works really well with Chris together. And the other one is Fes Erika. And Fes Erika is really a problem child. First up, she has a random 2x hit with a tier 2 self speed boost, and also a single target hit with HP condition that applies a fire damage boost to herself. So this just means she's a really, really selfish unit. You probably also run her with her ulti 2 with give more dodge, so this allows you and the other units to spam a lot of ultis, which is really good, but this also makes team building really hard for her. Why? Because, you know, the other units don't have a speed buff because she's selfish, so you need another speed unit maybe. We have no gotcha, we have no CDR, like besides her ulti of course, which is gotcha, but like there's not that much gotcha or CDR, and it's actually hard because we don't have like that one support unit that you can run with her to make the perfect team. For example, Reshred, you can use Leah, and she can maybe also apply a speed boost, but then again you have no CDR, no other gotcha, so getting all these ultis off is kind of weird. Also no physical attack buff, for example, or you can run an ulti 2 with gotcha, with the CDR, but then you still need the speed boost, you still need the attack buff, where you run for that and stuff like that. So all fire teams we could so far do are kind of weird. Like the collab units we just got from Mushoku Tensei actually makes a pretty good team with her. But then again, that's like another half a year after she actually dropped. So she's still the best fire unit we have damage-wise, I think. At least until the collab. I'm not sure if like the new Iris is just better or not. But just because her own damage is so high, she's also a must pull. Like every Fes unit is pretty much a must pull, not gonna lie. But yeah, team building with her is actually hard, but the damage is probably worth it. And with that, we've finished all the Annie and Fes units. I'm not sure if this is like now a 1 or 2 part video. It depends on the length of the video, I guess. But yeah, if you have any questions about these kind of banners, let them ask me them in the comments below. I try to answer them, or ask them in my Discord or anywhere else where you can ping me. I'm happily glad to answer them. I hope this helps you out, and see you all in the next part. Bye bye.